ఏమైంది?
Hi, good morning. Can you please let me know my voice is audible or not?
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, thank you. Hope my screen also visible.
Sure.
So as part of yesterday's session, we completed about our data warehousing concepts. And actually in other sessions, we are discussing about the Python. So today we'll continue with the Python. So we'll try to complete Python concepts in today and tomorrow's sessions. So with that, we can able to continue with the remaining topics. So if you remember, as part of discussing about the Python in the previous classes, what we discussed in the last class of the Python, we discussed about data types which are present in Python. So what are the different data types we are having? We are having non-data type. We are having numeric data types. In the numeric, we are having the int and float. And after that, we are having the sequence related data types. So within the sequence, we are having the string, and we are having bytes, and we are having byte array, and we are having list, and we are having tuple. Now out of these, we discussed about string, and we discussed about slicing operations on string. And we discussed about bytes, and we discussed about byte array, and we discussed about list. Okay, so other than these things, we are having the one more type of operator, one more data type called as a set, and we are having one more data type called as a dictionary. But as part of previous classes, we did in the previous Python class, we discussed about non-data type, int data type, float, and coming to string, we discussed about the slicing operation, and we discussed about the bytes data type and byte array, and also we discussed about the list operator, list data type. On top of list, also we discussed about the slicing operations. Okay, so today we'll continue with the other topics on top of the Python side. Now you try to give the answer. Coming to list, how we are going to represent the list? How we will represent the list? By using
square brackets.
these brackets or by using square brackets? By using square brackets only. So whenever you want to represent the list, we need to go for the square bracket. And whenever you want to represent the tuple, we need to go for normal brackets. And whenever you want to go for the set operator, we need to go for curly braces. And whenever you want to use the dictionary also, we have to use the curly braces. But for set and dictionary, what's the difference that we are going to cover as part of our today's session. But this is the representation of our list, tuple, set, and dictionary. And in our previous class, whatever points we discussed on list, all those points will applicable on tuple also. So whatever the points we discussed on top of the list and everything is going to applicable on top of the tuple also. Only thing is nothing but on tuple we cannot able to perform update operations. Except this operation, all the remaining topics or all the remaining operations, whatever we discussed on the list, it is completely similar on top of the tuple. So indirectly we can able to say, indirectly, just I'm telling, tuple is nothing but it's a kind of a read-only list, which is nothing but on top of the list. If we cannot able to perform any kind of update operations, that indirectly we can able to call it as a tuple. Don't take the definition of the tuple like this only. So as part of defining the tuple, we are given the normal brackets, and whenever we are going to create the tuple, on top of the tuple we cannot able to perform any kind of updates or any kind of modifications. That's the reason just indirectly we are calling tuple is nothing but it's a kind of a read-only list. Okay, just we'll see one example. So in the previous class, we discussed about notebook, how to open the notebook and how to perform the practice on the notebook. If you want, you can able to start the notebook from your command prompt, and in the notebook, you can able to do your practice study. But just for my convenience and for your convenience, and after completion of the class, I want to share whatever the comments we are discussing here. I need to share all the comments. For that reason, just I'm using the IDLE. Otherwise, if you want, you can able to perform the practice on the notebook, or if you want, you can able to do the practice in parallel with me by using the IDLE by depending on your convenience. If you want, you can able to open the notebook. In that notebook also, you can able to perform your practice. Okay. Now, for example, here I'm giving the list. Okay. And if you want to understand whether it is list or not, just we have to give it as a type of X. And if you want to display the values in the list, what we can do, just we have to give it as a print of X. If you are given the print of X, it will display all the values which are present in the list. Now, instead of displaying all the values in the line, I want to display all these values one by one. Then what we can do, we discussed about that in the previous class. Just we can go for loop only. So just give it as a for I in list X. Then I want to display value as a print I. So if I'm going to run this, what will happen? This for loop will iterate all the values of your list. With that, you can able to see the values like this one by one on top of your output. And this is about the list ID. Now, for example, I want to display only first value in the list. Then what we can do? I want to display only first element of the list. Just we can give it as a X of 0. For example, if I'm giving this, what will happen? It will display only the first element. But my requirement here is now, I want to update the first element in the list. If you want to update the first element in the list, we can able to give it as X of 0 is equal to 1. Indirectly, what I'm doing here, X of 0 is nothing but I am taking the first element of the list. For that first element, I want to update the value. Earlier, we are having this value as a 1. But now I want to change this value as a 10. Indirectly, in the X list, in the 0th element, we are having the value as a 1. But now my requirement is, I want to change this value from 1 to 10. So whenever you want to perform that operation, on top of the list, we can able to perform this operation. So what we can do, just we can give it as a X of 0 is equal to 10. Now I'm giving it as a print X. Now if you observe, in the first element, what's the value we are getting? We are getting the value called as a 10. Indirectly, what I'm doing here, on top of the list, in the first element, I am updating the data by depending on my requirement or by depending on my convenience. But few minutes back, what I told you already, on top of the tuple, you cannot able to perform this kind of operation, which is nothing but once you are going to create the tuple, on top of the tuple, you cannot able to perform any kind of update operations. That is the main difference between our list and tuple. Coming to list, we can able to perform the update operation, but on top of tuple, we cannot able to perform the update operation. Just we'll see that. So how to give the tuple? We have to give the normal brackets. Now same way, if you want to see the tuple values, we can give it as a simply print of y. And if you want to see all the values one by one, again same thing, and whatever we discussed on the list, we can able to perform the same operation for I in y. Then I'm giving print of I. So with this, so in the list, whatever the way we are seeing all the values one by one. In the same way, here also we can able to see all the values one by one by depending on our convenience. Now, if you want to see the first value in the tuple, here also we can give it as a y of 0. If I'm giving the y of 0, what's happening? We can able to see the first value. Now, what we'll do here is, I am trying to update the first element in the tuple. I am giving it as, for example, 10. See, if you observe, whatever the operations I am doing on top of the list, I am doing the same operations. Up to here, everything is working without having any kind of issues. Now, what I'm doing, I'm trying to update the first element from the 1 to 10, and I'm giving it as a y of 0 is equal to 10. Now see what's happening. It is given the error, which is nothing but you cannot able to update the values on top of your tuple. That's the reason indirectly we are saying that tuple is nothing but a kind of a read-only list. You cannot able to perform any kind of operations on top of your tuple. But try to understand what I'm telling. We cannot able to perform the update operations. But for example, your requirement is you want to add a value on top of your tuple. That operation we can able to perform without having any issues. So if you want to add a new value on top of the tuple, we can able to perform that operation. But we cannot able to change the values on top of the tuple. That is the difference you need to understand. Now, for example, now see here, X is a list. Now my requirement is in this list, at the end, I want to add a value. For example, at the end, I want to add a value called as 1,000. So what we can do? That is the one more topic we discussed in the previous class. At the end of this split, I want this list, I want to add a element called as 1,000. What we can do?
Plus 1,000 with
Give it as a x equal to x plus, in the square bracket we are giving it as 1,000. So in the square bracket, whenever we are giving the value, what will happen? That will consider it as a list only. With that, indirectly we are performing the concatenation of the list. With that, you can able to add the element. Now you tell me, here on top of this list, we are adding the element or we are updating the element? We are adding the element, which is nothing but we are adding the 1,000. Earlier we updated the value from the 1 to 10, but in this example what I'm doing here, I am adding the element. Okay, in the same way, if you want, we can able to add the elements on top of the tuple. We cannot able to perform the updates, but what we can do here, you can able to add the elements on top of your tuple by depending on the requirement. So for that, what we can do here is, just I will display first tuple. So these are the values we are having in the tuple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And coming to type of y, I'm showing you that y is acting as a tuple. Now on top of this one, I want to add the element. If you want to add the element, we can give it as like this. First we'll give like this. So see here, if I'm trying to give like this, it will give the error saying that it is understanding this 1,000 is a kind of a integer variable only. So if you want to add the element on top of the tuple, within the brackets, you have to pass the value. But other than these brackets, what we have to do here is we need to give it as y equal to y plus 1,000. Then just we need to add the comma. So once we are going to add the comma, then only it can able to understand that is a kind of a tuple element only. Without giving the comma, if you are given the 1,000 directly, what's happening? It is given the error saying that cannot able to concatenate the tuple and integer. It is considering this as a kind of a integer value. But if you want to assign the element on top of your tuple, what we have to do here in the list, whatever the way we are doing, you can able to follow the same thing. But here we have to give the normal bracket. Other than normal bracket, just we need to append the comma on top of your element value. With that, now see, I'm going to click on enter. Element is added. Now if I'm giving the y, we can able to see the data. Now element has been added. So this is the way, by depending on our requirement, if you want, we can able to add the element on top of your tuple, and on top of list also we can able to add the element. But what is the main difference here? In the list we can able to update the existing values by depending on the requirement, but coming to tuple we cannot able to change the existing values on top of your tuple. This is the way simply we can able to understand what is the list and what is the tuple. And again, this is the one of the interview question. For that reason, just I'm showing you all these examples, what we can do on top of the list and what we can do on top of the tuple. Okay, so in the interview they will ask the question, what is the difference between list and tuple? It's a very simple answer. On top of list we cannot able to perform the update operations, but on top of the tuple we can able to perform the update operation. That is the main difference we can able to say as part of difference between our list and tuple. Okay, now in the same way,
Sir, one small question, please.
Yeah, please.
Sir, what is the difference between the tuple and the byte array, sir?
Now coming to byte array, what's happening here? There we are having the values in the byte format, but coming to here, what we are on top of byte array also, what we can do here, you can able to change the values, but on top of tuple, can we able to change the values? No. If you remember, we discussed about byte and byte array, and if you remember, in between byte and byte array, what is the difference? In the byte, we cannot able to do any kind of changes, but on top of byte array, we can able to perform the changes only. But coming to tuple also, what is going to happen? We cannot able to perform any kind of changes, or which is nothing but any kind of updates we cannot able to perform on top of the tuple. But coming to byte array, we can able to perform the updates by depending on our requirement. Okay. Now in the same way, we are having the one more type of data type called as a range ND. So with the help of this range, what we can do here is we can define range values. So what we can do here, simply we can able to define the range values. Whenever you want to define the range values as per the requirement, we are going to use the one more operator, one more data type called as nothing but range data type. Now see, for example, I am giving it as A is equal to range of 10. And after that, just I'm giving it as a type of A. So here what I'm doing, for the purpose of representing the set or tuple, for the purpose of representing list or tuple, we are giving the square bracket or we are giving the normal brackets only. But whenever you want to define the range, instead of giving the brackets, here we are giving the keyword called as a range keyword. Here I'm giving A is equal to range of 10. After that, I'm giving type of A. you see type of here, what is happening? It is given the data type called as a range data type, which is nothing but on top of this A, we are given the range function. For the reason, it is taken the data type of for this A variable is nothing but range. Now, for example, if I'm given the print of A, now see what will happen. What's happening? It is showing it as a range of 0, 10 and D. So whenever you want to see the values on top of the A variable, which is having the data type called as a range, then we can able to see this value like this. It is showing it as a range of 0, 10. Okay. Now you are given the range of 10, but by default, what is happening here? It is taking this value as a range of 0, 10. Okay. Internally, what will happen is it is considering range of start value, comma, end value, comma, increment value. So internally, as part of range function, it is considering the total 3 parameters only. One is nothing but start value, end value, and increment value. Now, for example, if I am given the only range of 10, what will happen? It will consider it as a range of start value. It will take it as a 0, 10, increment value by default. It will take it as a 1. We are given the range of 10 as part of our program, but by default, what will happen? It will take the start value as a 0, end value, whatever we given, that value will take it as a end value. Coming to increment value, by default, it will take it as a 1. Okay. Now, indirectly, what will happen is in this A, it is going to contain the values. It is going to contain values for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So like this, it is going to contain all the values which are present in the A. Okay. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to give the range values from a particular start value to particular end value only. In that situation, what we have to do here, you have to specify the start value and end value on top of your range function. So here I'm giving, for example, 2, 20, 2. Now tell me what will happen here. What is the meaning of range of 2, 20, 2? Which is nothing but it is starting at starting value will take it as a 2 and it is ending with 20, but increment value will take it as plus 2, which is nothing but first value will display 2. After that, we are getting value as a 4. Then we are getting the value as a 6. Then we are getting the value as a 8. Like that, it is incrementing the 2 to 2 on top of your output. But if you want to increment only 1, then what we can do here, instead of giving the 2, we can give it as a 1. By depending on our requirement, we can able to specify the increment value only. So we just will see the values here. Now, if you want to see the values, we can give like this. If you observe, here we given the A equal to range of 10. Range of 10 is nothing but it is starting from the 0 and it is incrementing the value called as a 1, and for that reason, it is given the values as 0 to till 9. Like that, it is going to populate the sequence values by depending on our requirement. Indirectly, whenever you want to populate this kind of sequence values, then what we can do here, simply we can able to use the function called as a range function. With the help of the range function, we can able to populate the sequence values like this. Okay. Now, in the same way, if I'm giving, for example, like this, B is equal to range of 2, 10, I'm giving. Again, I'm giving for I in B, print of I. Now, any guesses what would be the starting value? It is taking starting value from 2 because here I am representing the starting value. For that reason, instead of 0, it is starting from the value 2. From 2, what is going to happen? It is displaying all the values up to 9 and 10. Whatever the end value we given here, before that end value, whatever the data we are getting, that data will populate on top of your output. Okay. First example, we are given the single value. It is considering it as a end value. By default, it will take the starting value as a 0 and increment value as a 1. But coming to this one, in this example, we are given the 2 variables on top of the range. First value will consider it as a starting value. Second value will take it as a ending value. But here we haven't given any increment value. For that reason, what will happen? By default, it will take the increment value as a 1. With that, it is given the values as a 2 to 9 in the sequence way. Now, what we'll do here is, I'm giving 2, 10, 2. Now, any guesses what is the data we are going to get?
2 to 18.
We are going to get data. If you see, we are getting 2, 4, 6, and 8. But why we are getting the data like that only? Because we given the increment value as a 2 here. So as part of this example, you given the start value, you given the end value, and also we given the increment value also. If you are not giving any increment value, by default it will take it as a 1. With that, it is incrementing 1, 1, 1. But coming to here, we given the increment value as a 2. For the reason, what's happening here? It is incrementing the values as a 2 to 2. With that, it is given the data from 2 to 8. But tell me why it is giving only up to 8? Why it is not given the 10, 12, 14, 16? Because here we given the end value is nothing but 10. Okay, the first one is the starting value, second one is the ending value, and third one is the increment value. Coming to end value, we given the value called as a 10. That's the reason before 10, whatever the data it can able to populate, that data is populating on top of your output. This is the way simply we can able to understand how range is going to work in our internal system. And so whenever you want to define the range, we have to give the range like this. But if you are going to define the range internally in the B, what's the values it is going to contain? It is containing all the values like this. In the same way, if you are going to define the range like this, what will happen? Internally in the C variable, it is going to contain all the variables like this only. So this is the way we need to understand what is the purpose of the range. And one more thing, as part of our programming, mostly whenever we are using the for loop, in the situation we are going to use the range function. Now, see for example, I'm giving like this: for I in range of 0, 10. Then I'm giving print of I. So what is the purpose of the for loop? By using the for loop, we can able to perform the looping operation, or we can able to perform the repetitive operation. But as part of doing the repetitive operation, we have to specify how many number of times you want to perform the repetitive operation. For example, my requirement is here. I want to perform the repetitive operation 10 number of times. And then what I can do here, simply we can give it as a range of 0, 10, which is nothing but it is populating the 10 values. For that reason, this for loop will repeat 10 number of times. With that, you can able to get the data like this. See, it repeated 10 number of times. With that, you can able to get all the 10 sequence values like this. Indirectly, in the previous examples, we applied the range function on top of a variable. After that variable we are giving in the for loop only. Otherwise, if you want, what we can do here, directly we can able to apply the range function on top of your for loop by depending on our requirement. Now, your requirement is, for example, you want to repeat the loop total 10 number of times. In that situation, just we can give it as a range of 0, 10. For example, my requirement is I want to repeat the loop, for example, 30 number of times only. Then what we can do, simply we can give it as a range of 0, 30. Like that, by depending on our requirement, you can able to specify the range values. With that, we can able to repeat the loop on top of your for. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to utilize the for loop in the combination of the range as part of our requirements. Okay, it is very simple. It's one of the function, or it's one of the data type we are going to use regularly as part of our real time whenever we are using the for loop. Okay, any questions on top of this range, please ask me.
Basic default increment value is 1, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So if you see above, yeah, here I given the range of 0, 10. Here I have given any increment value only. If you are not giving any increment value, by default, what's happening here? It is taking the increment value as a 1. But in this example, I given the start value, I given the end value, and also I given the increment value also. Increment value I given it as a 2. For that reason, it is starting from the 2. It is ending with 10. But in between, it is incrementing 2 to 2. With that, we are getting values as a 2, 4, 6, and 8. Like that, we are going to get the data on top of your output. Okay.
Sir, by mistakenly, I have given print of y in for loop for I in range. It is repeating 5 times. I pinged you in chat, sir.
Just will try here only for I in range of, sorry. For I in A, and you given print of A.
Print of A.
See, if you are giving the print of A, what is going to happen? What is the meaning of A here? This is the value we defined. So if you are giving the print of A, what will happen here? It is given the definition of the A variable. So as part of A, you define it as a range of 0, 10. For that reason, it is repeating our same value multiple number of times only. So indirectly, if you want to see the data in the A, we have to give it as a print of I. But if you are giving the print of A, what is happening here? It is giving what is the value you have defined on top of your A. So as part of defining the variable A, what I define the variable called as a range of 0, 10. For the reason, it is displaying 10 number of times as a range of 0, 10. But you want to see the definition or you want to see the values in the A. You want to see the values in the A. For that reason, here we are using the iterative value called as a I. For that reason, we have to give it as a print of I and D. If you are giving the print of I, what will happen? It will go to the A variable. In the A variable, whatever the values it's stored with the help of the range function, those values will be displayed when we are giving it as a print of I. But if you are giving the print of A, what is happening here? Just it is displaying the definition of the A variable. For the reason, it is given the same range function 10 number of times on top of your output. Is it clear? Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, Sandy. So in the same way, we are going to have the one more type of data type called as a set data type. So we are having one more data type in the Python called as a set data type. It is going to contain unordered collection of elements. What is the meaning of unordered? For example, you are given the values in this order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but as part of displaying the data, it will display in random order. That we can able to call it as simply unordered collection of elements only. So whenever we are going to define the data type as just said, what will happen? It is going to store the all the elements like the way we are having. It is happening in the tuple and it is happening in the list only. But only thing is nothing but as part of displaying the data, if you are having the few records, it will display data in the normal order. But if you are going to store the more number of elements in the set, what will happen? That data will be displaying in the random order. That is the again one difference between the list and set, or we can able to call it as a between tuple and set only. In the list and tuple, in whatever the order we given the data, in the same order we can able to see the data. But coming to set, what is going to happen? You cannot able to see the data in the same order. You are going to see the data in the unordered way on top of our set. That is one thing we need to understand. At the same time, as part of representing set, we have to use curly braces. Whenever you want to represent the set, as we discussed earlier, we have to use the curly braces. With the help of the curly braces, we can able to define the set. Next one we need to understand. On top of set, we cannot able to change the values, which is nothing but we cannot able to update the values. Again, try to understand what I'm telling. We can able to add the values or we can able to remove the values on top of the set only. So here I will add the statement. We can add or we can remove, but we cannot able to update. So in the list you are having, in the set you are having some values. If you want to do the values on top of the set, we cannot able to change the values in the set. But what we can do here, by depending on our convenience, if you want, we can able to add the elements on the set or we can able to remove the elements on the set only. So this is the one more thing we need to understand. Other than that, set will display only unique values. What is the meaning of the statement? As part of creation of the set, for example, you are given the duplicate values. Even if you are given the duplicate values, what will happen? It will consider all those values as only unique values only. Just we'll see one example. With the examples, you can able to get a clear picture. Just I'm giving some x is equal to. So we have to give the curly braces. I'm giving here. After that, just I'm giving print of x. If you are giving the print of x, we can able to see the data. And if I'm given type of x, here we can able to see what is the data type here. It is considered the data type called as a set because of giving the curly braces. And here we can able to see the data like this. Now, for example, I'm giving 1, 1. So indirectly what I'm doing here, I am trying to pass the duplicate values with the curly braces. Indirectly, for your set data type, you are trying to pass the duplicate values only. After that, I am giving print of x. If you see, if you are given the print of x, it is given the duplicate values or it is displaying only the unique values. We are giving 1, 1 value 2 times, but even though what will happen as part of displaying the data or as part of representing the data, it is given the only unique values. It is not displaying the duplicate values on top of our set data type. It is allowing, but as part of displaying or as part of using this variable x variable, what is happening here? It is not given the duplicate values. It is given the only the unique values only. This is the one more difference we need to understand between the list tuple to our set. List will display the duplicate values, tuple also will display the duplicate values, but coming to set, it won't display the duplicate values. That is the one more difference we need to understand between our list and tuple to set. Again, I'm repeating, list can able to display the duplicate values, tuple can able to display the duplicate values, but coming to set, it won't display the duplicate values on top of our set data type. This is the one key difference we need to understand between list to set or tuple to set. Okay. Now, for example, my requirement is on top of this set, I want to add the element. So if you want to add the element here, what we can do is, if you remember, try to give the answer as part of the list or as part of the tuple. How we added the elements?
X is equal
X
to X.
equal to X
We are
plus.
given the plus operator.
Plus.
Plus is nothing but indirectly we are doing the concatenate operator. With the help of the concatenate operator, we can able to add the values only. But that operation we cannot able to perform on top of our set. Just we'll see that. I'm giving x is equal to x plus. I'm giving square brackets 10 like this. See what's happening? Simply we are getting the error. Indirectly, this is the one more example you need to understand. On top of the tuple or on top of the list, if you want to add the elements, what we can do, simply we can give it as a plus operator. With that, we can able to add the elements on top of our list and tuple. But coming to set operator, it is not going to allow the plus operator for the purpose of adding the element. Instead of that, as part of using the set operator, we are having the two methods only. One we can able to call it as a add, other one we can able to call it as a remove. By using those keywords or by using those functions, we can able to add the elements on top of the set. Just I will show you. I'm giving, first we'll give print of x. See, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'm doing is I'm giving x dot add 10. After that, I'm giving print of x. Now see what's happening. With the help of the add function, we can able to add the elements on top of your set by depending on the requirement. Earlier we are having the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now what I'm doing here, I'm giving it as x dot add of 10, which is nothing but it is adding the element at the end of the list. Okay. Now in the same way, my requirement is I want to remove the element called as a 4. If you want to remove this element, just we can give it as x dot remove 4. What is the 4 here? I want to remove the element value called as a 4 and for the reason I am giving x dot remove 4. If I am going to run this, after that I am giving print of x. Now see, earlier we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, but now we are having only 1, 2, 3, 5, 10. This is the way you need to understand how we can able to add the elements on top of your set and how we can able to remove the element on top of the set by depending on our requirement. And one more thing, just I'm repeating the same thing. On top of the set, we cannot able to apply the plus operator. Instead of applying the plus operator, what I'm doing here, I'm giving it as a add function. With the help of the add function, we can able to add the values. At the same time, we can able to remove the values by depending on our requirement. Okay. Any questions on top of this set, please ask me here.
Sir, for range, we cannot update and we cannot add the values.
No, we cannot able to update, we cannot able to add on top of range.
And for list and tuple, we cannot remove.
No, we cannot able to remove, but we can able to add or we can able to update.
Update. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So might be you people
Sir,
can able to get the confusion by seeing
Sir,
all
one
these
small question,
exactly.
please.
Yeah, please. Please.
Sir, can we add in the middle of the set any of the elements? Apart from
Can you
adding to
repeat
the
it?
end. Sir, when we add an element, the element is getting added at the end of the set. Can we add it
Yeah,
in
at the end of the set only.
middle of the set?
We cannot able to add in between only. So we can able to add the elements only at the end. Okay.
Only one value, sir, at a time.
At a time, one value. If you want, you can able to add the multiple values. Otherwise, what you can do here is you can able to put as a 10, 20. With that also, we can able to add the multiple values by depending on the requirements.
I got the error, sir.
In the remove, we can remove only one value, or we can remove multiple values at a
Remove only
time.
one value. Only one value. For example, here someone is saying that can we able to add the multiple values? We'll try that only. Just I will try that. I am giving 20, 30. Okay, it's given the error. Okay, we'll do one thing. I'm giving s dot add. Here, just I'm giving these values the square bracket. We just I'm trying this and we'll see this unhashable type. Okay, which is nothing but we can able to add the only one element. We cannot able to add the multiple elements on top of using the add or remove. Okay.
Sir, and this in list tuple and set, we are able to mix. We can include numbers as well as strings, right?
Yeah, you can include numbers and strings, anything only.
And
But just for understanding, for everywhere I'm giving the same example. So coming to range, we cannot able to add the numbers because coming to range, what's happening? It's populating the sequence values. For that reason, in the range, what we can do, we cannot able to populate the string values. We can able to populate the integer values as part of using range. But coming to set and list and the range, if you want, we can able to maintain the integer values, and also if you want, we can able to maintain the string values also by depending on our requirement.
okay.
Sir, compared to 3, which one is the fast, sir?
No, it's not a consider the fast study. So what will happen is in the real time, by depending on the requirements, we are going to use the list or tuple or set. If you ask me, I can able to say set is fast compared to the list and tuple. That's the reason only if you see as part of given the set, what I told you at the beginning, it is performing the kind of the unordered operation. Because of doing the unordered operation, what is happening is compared to these three, we can able to see good performance on top of the set. But in the real time, by depending on the requirements, we are going for the list or we are going for tuple or we are going for the set. But if you ask me, coming to your question, I can able to say set is giving the best performance compared to the list and tuple. Okay. And one more thing is actually we discuss about the list, tuple and set. At the same time, we are discussing some operation will allow on the list, some operation will not allow on the set. So by seeing all these things, might be you can able to get the confusion. So that's the reason just what I did here is I segregated all the data types like this and the list, what we can do, tuple, what we can do, range, what we can do, set, what we can do, next one in the dictionary, what we can do, and what is the purpose and which operators we can able to apply. After completion of this class, I will share this Excel. Don't get any kind of confusion. I know because of discussing all these things in the single class, because of discussing different functions or different operations on top of these data types, might be you can able to forget or might be you can able to get the confusion. That's the reason I segregated list operations, tuple operations, set operations, and I kept everything in the Excel sheet in the tabular format. After completion of the class, I will share this Excel sheet and just to go through this table. With that, easily you can able to recap what we discussed. At the same time, whenever you want to understand difference between the list or tuple or set and just open this Excel. By seeing this Excel, just by reading 1 or 2 minutes, we can able to understand what is the difference between the list, tuple and set. I will share this after completion of the class. Okay. Now in the same way, if you observe here, I am given the, for example, 2 different sets. I am giving X. After that, I am giving Y. Okay, someone asked, right? Can we able to pass the string values? Obviously, we can able to pass the string value. Just for that, I'm showing one example only. So here we can able to give it as x equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 Srini and y equal to 2, 3, 4 was. Now my requirement is I want to merge these two things. For example, if these two are the list, then how we can able to concatenate the two lists only? If x is a list and y is a list, I want to concatenate x and y list. Then what we can do, as we discussed earlier, simply we can able to use the plus operator.
Yes.
With the help of the plus operator, we can able to perform the concatenate operation. Now what I will do here is I'm giving it as a x equal z equal to x plus y. Now see what's happening here. We are getting the error because here x is a set and y is a set. On top of the set, we cannot able to perform the concatenation by using the plus operator. Instead of this, what we can do here is here we are having operator called as a union. We are having function called as a union. With the help of this, we can able to perform the merging operation. I given it as a, I want to merge x with y and this. So we are giving x dot union y. After that, I am giving simply print of z. Now see what's happening. We can able to see the values as a 1, 2, 3, 4 was and Srini. But if you observe here we are having total 5 elements. Here we are having total 4 elements. When we are going to perform the merging operation, we need to get total 9 values only. But why we are getting the only 6 values here? Any guesses?
Duplicate
it keeps only unique values.
So at the beginning we discussed, right? So as part of discussing about the set operator, we discussed about set will not display the duplicate values. Actually, when we are performing the merging operation, 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 2, 3, 4, indirectly 2 is a duplicate, 3 is a duplicate, and 4 is a duplicate. But as part of set, what is happening here? It is not displaying the duplicate values on top of your output. For that reason, if I am given the Z, what's happening here? It is displaying 2, 3, 4 only one time. With that, you are getting only the 6 elements on top of your output. This is the way we need to understand how set is going to work internally as part of displaying the data whenever we are having the duplicate records. Okay. Now in the same way, for example, whenever you want to create any empty set variable, how we can able to create the empty set variable? Any guesses?
Hello.
I want to create the empty set. What we can do? Just observe, I'm giving it as A is equal to, I'm giving square brackets like this, curly braces. Now after that, just I'm giving type of A. See what's happening? It is displaying it as a set, or it is displaying the data type as a dictionary.
Dictionary.
It is displaying it as a dictionary, which is nothing but whenever we are going to pass empty braces, it is considering it as a dictionary. Okay, that's the reason. For example, second time again one interview question. In the interview, they'll ask the question: whenever you want to create the empty set, how we can able to create that? So far, what we are discussing, whenever you want to create the set, we have to give the curly braces. Most of the people will give the answer is we have to give it as a equal to curly braces like this, Sandy. But if you are giving like this, what's happening internally? It is considering it as a dictionary. But whenever you want to define the empty set, okay, then what we have to do here is just we can give like this: A equal to set this. After that, just I'm giving type of A. Now see, it is considering it as a set. If you want to define the values of the set, then we can go for the curly braces. There it is not taking it as a dictionary. But whenever you want to deal with the empty set, then what we have to do here, if you are given the curly braces, it will take it as a dictionary. Instead of that, if you want to create the empty set, then what we have to do, we need to give it as a equal to set function, set operate, set method. Just we have to give A equal to set, open brace and closure brace. With that, it is considering A is a set. Just we'll see the data here. If I'm given the print of here, it is given the set of something like this, which is nothing but it is considering it as a set. Because of the empty set, what's happening here? It is displaying the value as a set, open bracket and closure bracket. So this is the way simply you need to understand how we can able to define the empty set by depending on our requirement. Don't give the curly braces whenever you want to define the empty set. If you want to define the empty set, we have to give the keyword called as a set. By using the set keyword, we can able to define the empty set. Now you tell me, on top of this empty set, now I want to add the values. How do we add the values? We created the empty set by giving the set function or set keyword. Now my requirement is on top of this empty set, I want to add the values. How to add the values?
A dot add.
Yeah, just give it as a dot add. I'm given, for example, 10. Now I'm giving print of A. Now see what's happening. We can able to see the data as a 10. Now if you observe, in the early, because of the empty, it is showing it as a set. Print of A is giving it as a set, open brace and closure brace only. Now we added one value. After adding the value, if you are given the print of A, what's happening? It is displaying the data in the curly braces. This is the way you need to understand how to define the empty data set, empty set by depending on our requirement. Okay. Now in the same way, we are having one more last data type called as dictionary. So this is falling under the type of data type called as a mapping data type only. So dictionary is falling under type of the data type called as a mapping data type. As part of dictionary, what we'll do here is to represent key value pairs. Whenever you want to represent kind of key value pairs, then we can use dictionary. What is the meaning of key value pair? So see here, for example, here I'm saying key colon value. I'm giving one Srinu. Just assume that ID is 1 and name is Srinu. So this is the way I want to assign the data. So far what we are doing, we are giving the 1, 2, 3, or we are giving the A, B, C and D. But I want to give it as a ID, name together with a colon. After that, again, I want to give, for example, 2 colon post. After that, 3 colon quality. So this is the way what I'm doing here. If you observe, I am given the kind of a key value pairs as part of the data. Whenever you want to define the values as a key value, so here what is the key? 1 is a key, and what is the value here for 1? Srini. Second key 2, and what is the value? Vasu. Third key 3, and what is the value here? Quality. So this is the way here you can able to see the data in the key value format. Whenever you want to store the kind of a key value formatted data, then what we have to do here, we need to use the data type called as a dictionary. With the help of the dictionary, you can able to store the data in the key value format by depending on our requirement. And next thing here, to represent dictionary also, we have to use same curly braces. As part of representing dictionary also, what we are doing here, we have to use the curly braces. And now we'll see one example here. I'm giving the data like this. So here total how many key values I'm giving? Any guesses? How many key values we are giving?
3.
3. 1 is a key, 2 is a key, and 3 is a key. And how many values we are giving? Again 3. Srini is a value, Vasi is a value, and quality is a value. So like that, you can able to display the, you can able to represent the keys and values as part of defining our dictionary. Just click on enter. Now I'm giving type of X. See what's happening? It is showing it as the dictionary because here we are given the curly braces, but here we are passing all the values as a kind of a key value pairs. And whenever we are given the data in the key value format, automatically Python can able to understand this is the kind of a dictionary data type. That's the reason if I'm given the type of X, what's happening here? It is given the value called as a dictionary. Okay. Now, for example, out of this, I want to see data for the first one, which is nothing but I want to see what is the value for 2, or I want to see what is the value for the 3. Whenever we are having that requirement, just we have to give it as a. So, now see what's happening. Whenever you want to see data for a particular key, for example, here I'm having the 100 keys and 100 values, and you want to see data for a particular key, then what we can do, simply we can give it as a X of key value. So here this is not a position, and what is this here? 3 is nothing but your, 3 is nothing but your key value. So whatever the key value you are having, respect to that key, if you want to see the value, then we have to give it as a X of key, which is nothing but we are given the X variable. In this variable, I want to see the data for the key value 3. So we are giving it as a X of 3. If you are given the X of 3, it is given the value of the key called as a 3. Now in the same way, if I am giving X of 2, so what's happening? We are getting the value as was. If I'm giving the X of 1, then we can able to get the value called as a Srinu. So this is the way you can able to display the data for keys by depending on the requirement. Whenever you want to see the data for a particular key, just we have to give it as that variable of that key value. In this example, X is a variable and my keys are 1, 2, 3. If you want to see the data for 1, 2, 3, we can give it as a X of 1 or X of 2 or X of 3. With that, we can able to see the values on top of your screen. Now, for example, out of these keys and 1, 2 or 3, I want to change the value for 1. So coming to 1, I'm having the value called as a Srenu. Now my requirement is I want to update the value for 1. So what we can do here is just give it as X of 1. Now tell me what is the meaning of X of 1? What is the meaning of X of 1?
Value of 1.
Which is nothing but we are taking the value of 1 by using the key and D. Now what is my requirement? I don't want to populate the value. I want to change the value. For that reason, I am giving it as X of 1 is equal to Srinu underscore 1. After I'm giving print of X. Now see what's happening? We are giving X of 1 is equal to Srinu underscore 1. And earlier we are having the value called as a Srinu. Now we are updating this value from Srinu to Srinu underscore 1 and D. So like this, by using this assignment operator, by depending on your requirement, you can able to update the key values on top of your dictionary. Either for 1 or 2 or 3, we can able to update the key values by depending on our requirement. In the same way, for example, my requirement is I want to add the element. On top of this dictionary, I want to add the element. Now you tell me, if you are going to add the element on top of the dictionary, what are the things we have to define? On top of dictionary, I want to add the element. If you want to add the element, what are the things we have to define?
Key and
we
value.
need to define the key, or we need to define the value, or we have to define both key and value.
Both.
We have to define both key and value, and so it's very simple. Just we have to give it as X of 5 is equal to, I'm giving GCP. So what I'm telling indirectly, I'm giving it as x of 5 is equal to GCP. Don't think that in the fifth position we are adding the data. That's a kind of a wrong statement, Andy. So here we are giving the x of 5. 5 is nothing but we are giving the key value as a 5. And for this key, we are giving the value called as a GCP. Just click on enter. After that, give it as print of x. See what's happening? It added the one more element called as a 5 GCP. Out of this 5 GCP, key value is a 5 and value is a GCP. So like that, you can able to add the elements on top of your dictionary. If you want to add the element, we can give it as a simply x of key is equal to value. With that, we can able to add the element. Now tell me, can we able to maintain the duplicate key values on top of this? Can we able to maintain duplicate key values in the dictionary?
Yes.
Can able to say we cannot able to maintain
Should be
duplicate values in dictionary. We cannot able to maintain duplicate key values on top of your dictionary. Just we'll try to create one more dictionary like this. I am giving y is equal to so I created the dictionary like this. We'll see. I'm giving it as a print of y. What's happening? It is given the only key value given two number of times, 1 and 1 and d, but out of these two, what's happening here? It is given the only key value as a only one time 1 because it is not going to allow it is allowing, but as part of displaying what is happening here, it is displaying the key value as a only one time. That too, whatever the last value which you added, that value only will be displaying on top of your dictionary whenever we are maintaining the duplicate key values only. Indirectly, we can able to say on top of dictionary, we cannot able to maintain the duplicate key values. As part of taking the data, it is allowing the values, but as part of displaying or as part of usage, what will happen? It will not display the duplicate key values. It will display the only unique values. Okay. In the same way, for example, I am giving y of 1. We'll see what will happen. What's happening? It is displaying only the Vasu. It is not displaying the Srenu. This is the way simply you need to understand how dictionary is going to work internally as part of giving the values or as part of adding the values or as part of updating the values. Okay. Any questions again up to here? Please ask me. As I told you earlier, definitely you can able to get a lot of confusion after discussing all these data types on the list, tuple, set, and dictionary. All will be looking like same only, but for on top of one, we can able to do the updates. On top of other, we cannot able to perform the update. On top of one data type, we can able to perform the concatenation, and on other data type, we cannot able to perform the concatenation. Like that, we are having the some differences between all these kind of data types. You will get the confusion after completion of the class. Definitely, that's the reason, as I told you earlier, I will share this Excel. Whenever you are getting any kind of confusion, just open this Excel. By seeing the Excel, try to understand what is list, what is tuple, what is set, and what is dictionary, and what operations we can able to perform on all these data types. With that, you can able to overcome your confusions. Yeah, someone is trying to ask a question. Please continue now.
Yes, sir. If the list have a duplicate value, so how can print the that duplicate values in the
For example, I'm giving x equal to, I'm giving 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is the data we are having in the list. Just I'm giving print of x. If you are giving the print of x, we are getting the duplicate values also on top of your output. At the same time, if you want to get the data, what we can do simply for I in x, after that we are giving print of I. What's happening? Automatically, you can able to populate the duplicate values as part of your set operators by using same for loop or with the help of the print statement. You can able to display the duplicate values by depending on our requirement. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, we are giving one of Sinu and one of Vasu, but in the output, why it is considering Vasu is the original value?
It is
not considering.
It is taking the last value only. So whatever the last value we are giving for that same key value, that is considering the last value as a main value. Indirectly, what will happen is internally, what I'm thinking is we've given one Sinu. It is storing this value. On top of this, again, you are given the same key. Because of giving the same key, what is happening here? It is overwritten the Sinu with the Vasu. For that reason, this dictionary is going to contain only the Vasu as a value. That's the reason it's giving that value only on top of your output.
Okay. Final value is taking.
Sorry.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I understand.
I can able to say last value it is taking as a main value. If you are going to maintain the duplicate values, whatever the thing we are entering at the last, that value will take it as a main value as part of display in the data.
Okay. So values of different keys can be same, right?
Yeah, keys should not contain the duplicate, but in the values we can able to maintain the same values. And just see whatever the question you are getting under, you can create like that. You can able to get the answers. Just for you, I will create now. I'm giving x equal to 1, 0. After that, I'm giving 2, 0. Now tell me, will it allow or not? What is the rule? Keys should not contain the duplicates, but coming to values, we are not having any such kind of rules. And for that reason, if I'm giving the, for example, print of x, see what will happen. It is displaying both. If I'm given the x of 1, it will give 0. If I'm given the x of 2, also what will happen? It is given the value called as a 0. Indirectly, for the keys only, we are having such kind of rule only, but coming to values, we are not having any such kind of rule.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, for example, we are having 100 key value pairs like this, Andy, but your requirement is you want to see all the 100 keys at a time. You want to see only the key values. Whenever you want to see only the key values, simply we can give it as a x dot keys. So if you are given the x dot keys, what's happening? It is displaying the only key values on top of your output. Whenever you are having that kind of requirement, if you want to see only the key values on top of your dictionary, just we can able to use the function called as a keys function. With the help of the keys function, you can able to display all the key values on top of your dictionary. Just give it as a x dot keys. With that, what will happen? You can able to display only the key values on top of your dictionary. In our example, we are having the 1 and 2 as a key ID. For that reason, if I am given the x dot keys, what's happening? It is given data for only 1 and 2. Okay. So all these are the things we need to understand on top of our different data types. And just I want to repeat, what are the different data types we are having in Python side? Yes. We are having none. We are having numeric data types like int and float. After that, we are having sequence data types like string, byte, byte array, list, tuple. Then we are having the set and we are having the dictionary. All these are the some main data types which we need to understand as part of our Python programming. Okay, in the same way, here we need to understand what all are different operators in Python. So far, we are discussing about the data types only. In the same way, we need to understand what are the different operators we are having in the Python. We are having arithmetic operators, and we are having assignment operators, and we are having relational operators, and we are having logical operators, and we are having Boolean operators, and we are having membership operators. So like this, we are having different set of operators on top of our Python. So all these are very simple. Just we'll go quickly about all these operators. Arithmetic operators. Any guesses? What are the arithmetic operators? Plus, minus,
addition, subtraction, multiplication,
subtraction, division. And if you want to get the module values, we can go for percentile. And we are having slash. With it, we can able to get the divisor values only. So like this, you can able to see different arithmetic operators. No need to discuss about much about all these operators because plus for addition, minus for subtraction, everyone know about all these things. That's the reason I don't want to spend much time on top of these arithmetic operators. So whenever you want to perform any kind of arithmetic operations on top of your variables, simply we can able to go for arithmetic operators. In the same way, coming to assignment operators, any cases? Equal to is a one assignment operator. Other than that, we are having plus equal to, we are having minus equal to, and we are having star equal to, and we are having division equal to. So like this, we can able to see some kind of different assignment operators. Now, for example, I am giving x plus equal to 5. What it means? Any guesses? In the maths, we can it's nothing but x equal to s plus 5 indirectly. Okay, if I are given the x plus equal to 5, which is nothing but indirectly, it is nothing but x equal to x plus 5. But in the same way, if I am giving x minus is equal to 5, what it means indirectly? It's nothing but x equal to x minus 5. Okay, the same way, all remaining things also same only. So if you are given the x plus equal to 5, it is nothing but x equal to x plus 5. In the same way, for all remaining operators also, it will work in the same way. Okay, if you want, just I will give quickly one or two examples. A equal to 10, B equal to 20. Just I'm giving A plus, sorry, A plus B. We are getting output as, sorry, it's my mistake. So we are getting output as a 30. If I'm giving A is equal to A plus 10, any guesses what's the output? A plus is equal to 10. I'm giving print of A. So already A value is 10 and if you are given the A plus is equal to 10, it will consider it as a equal to A plus 10, which is nothing but 10 plus 10 is nothing but we are getting output as a 20. That is the way these assignment operators are going to work on top of our Python side. Or you want me to explain these operators also with examples? I'm thinking these are the simple operators. For that reason, just I'm skipping and but if anyone is expecting examples on these operators, please let me know. I will cover those also, no issues.
Sir, can you please tell about the double backslash?
Double slash, okay. So for example, say
double
it
backslash.
as A equal to 15 and B is equal to, for example, 4. Okay. Now just tell me in the general mathematics, if I'm given the 15 division 4. What will happen here? We are giving it as a 3 and here we will get it as a 12. And with that, here we can able to get a result as a 3. This is the kind of a normal division only. So whenever we are going to perform the division, so this is the way we will do the division, right? Now, for example, if I'm going to give it as a C is equal to A slash B, and I'm giving print of C. So what's happening here? Whatever the value we are having here, this value will populate on top of your output. Now my requirement is instead of populating this value, I want to populate the remainder value. Then what we can do? Any guesses? I want to populate the remainder value. If you want to populate the remainder value, just give it as a module. But in the here in Python, we have to give it as a percentage B. We are given the A percentage B, after that giving print of C, then what will happen? It is given the remainder value only. So this is the way to get the required values. We are going to use the slash percentile, or we can go with the slash. Okay. In the same way, here we are having the one more type of operator called as nothing but relational operator only. So as part of using the relational operators, here we are having greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, and less than or equal to, and not equal to. So like this, we are having the different relational operators: greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. All these are the different, or say here equal to. So this is the way we are having the different set of the relational operators. Now see, for example, I am giving A is equal to 10, then I am giving B is equal to 20. I am giving A greater than 10. Any guesses what would be the output we are going to get? A greater than B? Any guesses?
False.
The output as a false. Okay, it is given the boolean value in the output. If it is true, it will give output as a true, and if it is false, it is giving output as a false. In the same way, if I'm giving A less than B, what will happen? We are getting output as a true. Whenever you want to compare two variables in the Python, in any database, generally here we can go for the relational operator. In the same way, within the Python also we are having the relational operator. With the help of the relational operator, you can able to perform this kind of operation. In the same way, coming to logical operators, we are having and or not. So when we need to go for AND? When we need to go for AND?
If both the conditions
to
are
satisfy multiple conditions, or to satisfy all the conditions. We can able to say, if you are given the 2 conditions or 3 conditions or 4 conditions, and your requirement is you want to satisfy all the conditions, then we can go for the AND operator. What about OR? To satisfy any one of the condition. To satisfy any one of the condition, we can go for the OR operator. To satisfy all the conditions, we have to go for the AND operator. For example, here I'm giving it as A less than B, and I'm giving A less than 5. Any guesses what is the output? A value is nothing but 10, B value is nothing but 20. Here we are giving A less than B and A less than 5. Indirectly we are giving the 2 conditions. In between 2 conditions, we are applying the AND operator. Now what is going to happen?
False.
See, A less than B is nothing but true only. But coming to A less than 5, 10 is less than 5. Is it true or false? It's a false. That's the reason. As part of running this, what will happen? It is giving output as a false only, because if any one of the condition is going to fail, end operator will not display the data, or we can able to say end operator will give output as a false only. If you want, quickly we'll go to the truth table here. I am given the condition 1 and I am giving condition 2. I am giving condition 1 and condition 2. Now tell me here, condition 1 is true, for example. Condition 2 also true. Then what is the output of condition 1 and condition 2?
True.
We are getting output as a true. In the same way, for example, condition 1 is false and condition 2 is true. Then what will happen?
False.
It is giving false. Condition 1 is true and condition 2 is false. Then what will happen? We are getting output as a false only. And in the same way, last one, I am given the false, and here also I am given the false. Then what will happen here? We are getting output as a false, which is nothing. If you observe, whenever both the conditions are true, then only what will happen? We are getting the value as a true. With that, we can able to get the record. If any one of the condition is going to not satisfy, then automatically what will happen? It is given the output as a false only as part of using your AND operator. In the same way, for example, I am giving condition 1 or condition 2. Now tell me, what is the first one? True or true? What's the output?
True.
It's nothing but true only. The same way, next one. Giving false and true. What's the output?
True.
True only. In the same way, next one. True or false. Again, what will happen? We're getting output as a false. Sorry, it's my mistake. It's a true only. No, it's a true only. Okay, if you are given the true or false, we are getting value as a true only. If both are false, then what will happen?
False.
Is giving output as a false. Indirectly, R operator is going to satisfy any one of the condition. If any one of the condition is true, then automatically R operator will give the value as a true. But if both the conditions are false, then what will happen automatically? It is given the output value as a false only. And this is the way we need to understand what is the purpose of AND operator and what is the purpose of the R operator as part of writing our programming. Okay. Now just what I will do here is I will give it as A equal to 10. Then I'm giving B is equal to 20. Then I'm giving C is equal to A greater than B. After that, I'm giving D is equal to A less than B. Now see, I'm giving print of C. What's happening? Coming to C variable, I give it as A greater than B and D. Coming to A greater than B is nothing but it's a kind of a false output. So that's the reason if I'm giving the print of C, we are getting output as a false. In the same way, if I'm giving print of D, what's happening? For print of D, we are getting value as a true. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is I'm giving it as a simply C and D. Sorry. Any guesses now what will happen? C is having the false value as per our output. D is having the true value. Now in between these two, I'm applying the AND operator. What's the output?
False.
Say
False.
I'm giving C or D. No.
True.
Is giving value as a true. Simply whatever the truth table we discussed here, it is same thing. Just I'm showing you in the program side. So coming to C, I given one kind of condition. Coming to D, I'm giving one kind of condition. For C, we are getting the value as a false. For D, we are getting the value as a true. After that, in between C and D, I'm applying the AND operator and I'm applying the OR operator. So with that, we can able to see the data like this on top of your output. Now, for example, I am given the not C. Any guesses what will happen? I am given the not C.
True.
See here, whenever we are applying the not operator, it is converting the true value as a false value and false value as a true value only. Coming to see here, what's the value we are having? False. Now we are giving it as a not C, which is nothing but it is converting the false value as a true value. Okay, that also will add here. I am giving, for example, not of condition 1. I am applying the not on the condition 1 only. Coming to condition 1, it is a true. So what will happen automatically? We are getting it as a false. Next record, we given the false, so we are getting it as a true. And next record, we give it true, so it will come as a false. Next one, false we give it, so it will come as a true. Okay. So whenever you want to change the false value to true value and true value to the false value only, in such kind of requirements, simply we can able to go for the not operator. With the help of the not operator, we can able to convert true value to false value and false value to true value. In the same way, coming to Boolean operators. Any cases, what's the Boolean operators we are having?
True.
Nothing but true and false. And so far, whatever the true and false values we discussed, these are also we can able to call it as a operators. True is a one Boolean operator and false is a one more Boolean operator. As I told you above, whenever you want to convert true to false or false to true, then what we are doing here, simply we are going to apply the not operator. With the help of the not operator, we can able to convert true value to false value to true values. Okay. In the same way, we are having the one more last operator called as a membership operator. As part of membership operator, we are having in operator and not in operator. So we are having in operator and not in operator. These two operators we can able to call it as a membership operators only. Now, for example, I'm having values like this, a equal to string. Now I want to check whether in this name, whether I letter present or not. I want to verify in this name whether letter I is present or not. Then what we can do here is just we can able to give it as I in A. So by using in operator indirectly, what I'm checking here, I am checking whether a particular letter is present in my name or not. Whenever we are having such kind of requirements, simply we can able to go for the in operator. With the help of the in operator, we can able to verify whether that value is present in the name or not. Just we check it once here. I'm giving A is equal to string. After that, I'm giving print of I in A. Any guesses what would be the output? I am giving simply print of I in A. I letter in the A present or not. It is available I letter. So what will happen if I enter? It is giving output as a true. Okay. Now for example, I am giving print of subject in A. Now what will happen?
False.
It is giving simply output as a false. In the same way, for example, I am giving print of sub T in A. Then also what will happen, we are getting output as a false. Okay, like this, whenever you want to verify a particular letter on top of your data, simply we can able to give it as a in operator. By using the in operator, we can able to display the required outputs on top of our output screen. Okay, just I will give one more example. If you see here, I'm giving a list. So I'm giving it as a list. Okay. Now my requirement is in this list, I want to verify whether 101 is present or not. For example, I'm assigning the B value as a 101. I want to verify this B value present in the A or not. So what we can do here also we can able to use the in operator. With the help of the in operator, we can able to verify that. Just to check it once. Print of B in A. See what's happening? This 101 present in the A list. For that reason, we are getting output as a true. Okay. Now, for example, for B, I'm assigning the value as a 102. I am giving print of B in A. So what's happening? We're getting output as a false. Okay, don't think that in operator we can able to apply only on the strings only. You can able to apply the in operator on top of the list or on top of the tuple or on top of the dictionary. Anywhere we can able to apply the in operator. Whenever you want to verify a particular value present in the list or particular value present in the tuple or particular letter present in the string value, in all such kind of requirements, simply we can able to go for the in operator. Now in the same way, you try to give the answer. What is the purpose of the not in operator? In is nothing but we are verifying that letter is present or not. If you want to verify whether a letter is not present or not, then we can able to go for the not in operator. If it is present or not, we can go for in. If it is not available or not, then we can able to go for the not in operator. Indirectly, not in is nothing but is opposite to your in operator. With in operator, if you are getting the true value, with the not in, what will happen? You are going to get value as a false. Just we'll see one example quickly. Giving print of I in A. We are getting true. The same I'm giving print of I not in A. What's happening? We're getting output as a false. Okay. So this is the way. So not in is completely opposite to your in operator. So coming to print of I in A, we are getting value as a true because I letter is present in the A. But if I'm giving the print of I not in A, what it means? I letter is present, but we are given the not in operator. For that reason, it is given the output called as a false. Okay. So this is the way simply we can able to understand different operators on top of your Python. I know I went a little bit fast on top of discussing about the operators only, because all these are the basic operators. If you are spending the time on type of these operators also, it will take very good amount of time. That's the reason, by assuming you are having knowledge on arithmetic operators and equal to operators and greater than operators and or operator, I went little bit fast. But all these are very simple operators. If you want, just you can able to Google it. You can able to get the so many examples on top of these operators. With that, easily you can able to perform the practice. But if anyone is looking for more examples on top of these operators, please let me know. Definitely, I will cover those examples in our class itself. Anyone expecting the examples on the operators also?
Sir, we have other operators like bitwise operators and Boolean operators.
Boolean operator we discussed on this. So coming to
Yes,
bitwise
yes.
operators, mostly we are not going to use in the real time. That's the reason we didn't discuss about the bitwise operators.
So rest of the operators we are not using as a data engineer.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
In Boolean operators, we have non-Boolean type operators. What are those?
What is meaning of non-Boolean?
I am not sure, sir. I'm just Googling it. I saw in somewhere.
No, I'm also not sure. So I know Boolean operators, non-Boolean I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Any other questions up here? Okay. If no question, just we'll try to discuss one more concept by considering we are having 10 minutes. So we are having one concept called as a command line arguments. So we are having one concept called as a command line arguments, which is nothing but while running your program, if you want to pass values as arguments. If you want to pass your values as arguments, then we can use command line arguments. So as part of your requirement, while running the program, you want to pass the values as arguments only. So whenever you want to pass the values as arguments, in the situation, what we can do here, simply we can able to use the operator called as a command line arguments. For example, I am writing a program called as sample.py program. Now, in this program, what is the functionalities? I want to perform the sum operation. Within the program, we are doing the sum operation, but here, instead of giving the values within the program, as part of running the program, I want to give it as a arguments. And for example, here I want to give it as a sample.py. I want to give 10, then I want to give 10. So which is nothing but as part of running my Python program, beside the program, I want to pass the arguments like this. I want to give the argument 1 as a 10 and argument 2 as a 20. Whenever we are having such kind of requirements, these kind of arguments only we can able to call it as a command line arguments only. With the help of the command line arguments, we can able to handle all these kind of things. Okay. Now, whenever you want to use the command line arguments, we need to import a module called as sys. As part of our Python, we are having a module called as a sys. Module is nothing but is a kind of a pre-defined library only. So with the help of the pre-defined libraries, we can able to import some kind of existing functionality. So we are having the one of the module called as a sys. With the help of the sys, what we can do here, we can able to handle the command line arguments. And whenever you want to use the existing modules, in Python, we have to import that module by using import keyword. We have to import that by using import indirectly. Here my requirement is I want to import the sys module. For the reason in our program, just we are going to give it as a import sys. By using the import sys, what I'm doing here, as part of my program, I am importing a module called as a sys module. With the help of the sys module, we can able to import the required things. Okay. And coming to here, this sys module, how it will work is, in sys module, we are having a list called as, or I can able to say we are having a default list called as argv. So within the sys module, we are having a default list called as a argv and d, which is nothing but whenever we are going to pass these kind of arguments as part of your program, all these arguments internally will store into the list called as a argv. But when all these things are going to happen, whenever we are importing the sys module, then your default list will come into the picture. What is the name of the default list? The default list name is nothing but our argv and d. So the default list will come into the picture whenever we are using the module called as a sys module. But why we want to use the sys module? Here my requirement is I want to pass the arguments like this. By passing these kind of arguments, I want to handle my program. For that reason, everything is interlinked here only. For this program, I want to pass the arguments. To pass the arguments, we are using the module called as a sys. To use this module, we are going to perform the import operation. With the help of the import operation, we can able to import the module. In this module, we are having the default list called as nothing but argv. By using this argv, what is happening? Whatever the arguments we are passing, all these arguments are storing in the list called as argv in the internal sys module. With that list, we can able to perform our required operations. Now, what we can do here is just we need to define the program like this. I'm giving a is equal to sys dot argv of 1. After that, I'm giving b is equal to sys dot argv of 2. After that, I'm giving c is equal to a plus b. After that, just I'm giving print of c. So this is the way just I'm writing the program only. So what I'm doing here, I'm giving it as a import sys. After that, I'm giving a is equal to sys dot argv of 1. Indirectly by using this, what I'm doing, I am accessing a list called as argv. But tell me, have we created any script here called as argv from our side?
No.
From our side, we haven't created any kind of list here. But what I told you earlier, in the sys module, by default, we are having the script called as argv and d. That argv we are using here. For this argv, what I am giving here, I am giving it as argv of 1. Indirectly, what is the meaning of this argv of 1? As part, so for example here, for this whole program, I am giving the name as a sample.py. So this is the program name I have given. Now, as part of running this program, I am giving it as a sample.py space 10 space 20. Now, as part of running this program, I am giving it as a sample.py space 10 space 20. Now, as part of running this program, what will happen is sys module is going to verify as part of execution, are we passing any arguments or not? How many arguments we pass here? You pass the 2 arguments only. These 2 arguments are storing internally in the list called as argv. After that, because of given the argv of 1, it is considering a value as a 10. After that, it is considering b value as a 20. With that, it is going to perform the addition operation. On top of that, we are doing the print operation. With that, we can able to get the data on top of your output. This is the way simply we need to understand how we can able to pass the command line arguments or how we need to pass the arguments during the execution of the program only. Just I will run this. With that, you can able to get the clear picture. Just I'm taking all these lines. Giving it as sample.py. Giving, for example, already this name is there. I'm giving sample1.py and it. Okay, now this is the program I have written. Now you tell you people try to give the answer. If you want to trigger this program, from where we have to trigger? I created a separate file, .py file. In that file, I have written the program like this. Now my requirement is I want to run this program. How we can able to run this program now?
Command prompt.
Command prompt, we have to run it. Before that, just I'm taking the path of the file only. This is my file path. In the D drive, Qt, Python, I'm having the file called as a sample1.py. This is my file path. Now I'm going to my command prompt. So here, how to run the program? Just give it as Python space our script name. I'm giving the script name. Just I'm going to click on enter. Now see what's happening. It is given the error. Any cases why it is given the error? Why it is given the error? For A, what we given in the program, I given the argv of 1. Argv of 1 is nothing but we need to pass the argument here. But in this program, are we passing any arguments only? we are not passing any kind of argument. For that reason, it is given the error saying that list index is out of range, which is nothing but it is taken the list called as a argv by default. In that argv, you want to access the first value, but you are not passing any values as part of running your program. For that reason, it is given the error called as nothing but list index out of range. And now you tell me, if you want to run this command, how many arguments we need to pass? In the program, we given the argv of 1 and argv of 2. For that reason, you have to give the 2 arguments. And I'm giving 10 and 20. Now see, once we are given the 10 and 20, we are getting output as a 10, 20. Any cases why we are getting the output like this? What's the mistake? Whenever we are giving it as arguments here, it is considering all these arguments as a kind of a string values. And for that reason, because of applying the plus operator, it is performing the concatenation. Now you try to give the answer. Instead of getting output as a 10, 20, I want to get output as a 30. What change we need to perform on this program?
Enter.
C equals to
We
int
need to
of
perform the
k plus
typecasting.
int of
And if you want to perform the typecasting, just give it as a int of a. And here also I'm giving int of b. Indirectly, what I'm doing, I'm converting the string data type to the integer data type by using the int operator. So this operation only we can able to call it as a typecasting operation. In the previous class, we discussed about this. Whenever you want, we can able to perform the typecasting operation. Here I'm giving the int of a and int of b. So why we are doing this operation? As part of reading the command line arguments, by default, it is considering it as a string value. For that reason, when I given the a plus b, it is given the output as a 10, 20. To overcome that, just what I'm doing here, I'm performing the typecasting by using the int function. With this, just I'm saving this program. Again, I'm going to run the same command. Now see here what will happen. You can able to get output as simply 30. Now what is the advantage here? If you want to do the changes of these values, simply here only we can able to change the values and giving 30 and 40. We are getting output as 70. The same way, if I'm giving 50 and 50, what will happen? We're getting output as 100. If you want, for example, if you want to define all the arguments within the program like this, and instead of here like this, I'm giving a is equal to 10. And I'm giving b is equal to 20. If I'm going to run the program, what will happen? You can able to get the output by doing the summing operation. But if you want to change the value, what we have to do? Again, you need to open the program. Again, you have to change the value. Again, you need to run it. Again, if you want to change the values, again, you need to open the program and you need to change the values and you need to run it. Now, my requirement is instead of changing the values in the program, what we are doing indirectly? Instead of changing the values within the script, just what I'm doing? I am changing the values as part of the execution by passing the command line arguments. And with that, no need to do any kind of changes on top of your script. Directly, we are going to run the script just by passing some kind of values like this. And this concept only we can able to call it as nothing but command line arguments. Again, this is the one of the thing regularly we are going to use as part of our real-time projects. In real-time projects, regularly we are going to use command line arguments. So just for the reason we discuss about this, and try to understand what is the advantage of the command line arguments. Without using this command line arguments only, you can able to achieve the requirement. Just give it as a equal to 10, b is equal to 20, then give c equal to a plus b, then give it as a print of c. With that, you can able to get output as a 30. But if you want to do the same operation for other values like 30 and 40, again what you have to do, you need to open the program, you need to change the values in the program, again you have to run the program. And but instead of opening the program multiple times, instead of changing the values multiple times, what we can do here, simply we are passing all these values as a kind of a argument values. Once we are giving it as a argument values, what we can do here, no need to do any kind of changes on the program side, just we need to run the commands. As part of running the commands, whatever the values you want to pass, we can able to pass those values. With that, you can able to get the outputs. And indirectly we are simplifying the operations. Instead of hard coding the values in the program, we are passing all those values as the arguments. With that, no need to do any kind of changes on the script on the regular basis. With that, we can able to perform the, we can able to simplify the operations in the real time. That's the reason in the real time, most of the times we are going to apply the command line arguments. Just for the reason we are discussing about this entire concept. Okay, just I want to give one heads up, buddy. If you are going to run this one, where we have to run, first you need to keep all this into your, just put it here, place below program in notepad. Then run this from your command prompt by using Python command. Just for your information, I'm giving this information only. So here just we have to run this command from the command prompt by giving the Python command. You need to create a py file, and by using the py file we can able to perform the execution. Okay. Now overall one important thing, as part of using the command line arguments, what we have to do here, we need to use the module called as a sys module. With the help of the sys module, it is creating one list called as a argv. That list we are using as part of our program. With that, you can able to pass the command line arguments on top of your program. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to pass the 3 arguments. Any guesses what we have to do? I want to pass the 3 arguments. Then what we need to do?
Define one more variable.
Just one more.
Variable only. So just here I'm giving. Otherwise, in the program directly I will add that. Here I'm giving, for example, C is equal to sys dot argv3. Comment here I'm giving it as a d is equal to plus int of c. So like this, you can able to add any number of arguments by depending on our requirement. Now tell me if you want to run this query or if you want to run this program. Now how many arguments we have to pass?
D7 instead of C.
Yeah, sorry, it's my mistake. I'm giving int of d. Okay, just run this one. Now what's happening? We are passing total 3 arguments. In the previous examples, we are given the only 2 arguments only, but in this example, we are passing total 3 arguments. So whenever you want, you can able to increase the number of arguments just by adding the sys.argv as part of your program. Now, for example, instead of giving the 3 arguments, you are given the only 2 arguments. Then what will happen? What will happen? It will give the error. So see here. Coming to arg1, we given the value, arg2, we given the value, but coming to arg3, you are not passing any value. And for that reason, again, it is giving output as a list index out of range. For that reason, how many number of variables we are defining? Obviously, you have to pass same number of variables as part of running your program also. This is the way we need to understand one more concept called as a command line argument. Okay. Any questions on this command line arguments? Please ask me here. Okay. If no questions, Andy. So what I will do here is whatever the commands I ran in the shell, I will copy all these commands and I will include all these commands in our notes, Andy, and I will upload the notes in next 5 minutes. As part of practice, you can refer all these commands, whatever I ran in the ideally shell. With that, you can able to perform the practice, and I will keep all these commands in the notes. With that, you can able to recap what we discussed as part of our class. Okay, so that's all from my side. Any questions, please ask me. Sorry. Okay, if no questions, we'll meet you in the 11:45 session. Thank you. Thank you all.